Abbas Juma, a famous Russian journalist and international journalist specializing in political conflicts, information warfare as well as the history and politics of the Middle East, recently made comments related to the operation of Israel. Tensions on the Israel-Lebanon border appear to be at risk of escalating into a full-blown conflict. While before, everyone expected an attack by Hezbollah, and it was thought that Israel was trying to avoid opening a second front in the north, now Israel has announced its readiness to launch a war on its territory. Southern Lebanese territory. According to Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, if Lebanese Shiite Hezbollah fighters do not withdraw beyond the Litani River, the Israel Defense Forces, IDF, will not hesitate to take military action against them. The Times previously reported that Israel plans to invade southern Lebanon. The aim is to push Hezbollah back to the river about 20 kilometers from the Israeli border. On the one hand, Israeli propaganda often tries to portray Hezbollah as a rogue, capable of fighting back but not ready for a full-scale war. On the other hand, it cannot be said that the Israeli leadership does not attach importance to the Hezbollah factor. Well aware of the enemy's capabilities, the Israelis evacuated almost their entire settlement near the border with Lebanon. Meanwhile, their main ally, the United States, continues to pressure Iran to prevent the conflict from escalating. Finally, current statements that Israel is ready for a ground campaign against Hezbollah, while the war against Hamas has not yet been completed or yielded any results, indicate a high level of anxiety. Degrees in Israel. According to journalist Juma, perhaps this is just an information-gathering exercise to monitor reactions and put pressure on Iran. But if such a plan exists, and Israel is preparing to implement it, the situation could seriously spiral out of control. It is difficult to see how the Israeli army can fight on two fronts at the same time when it cannot even deal with Hamas, which is much smaller and less well-armed than Hezbollah. In a recent meeting with Hezbollah spokesman Haj Mohammed Afif, journalist Juma raised the topic of war with Israel, and Mr. Afif said that Hezbollah has not engaged even 5% of its forces. And they are ready for any situation. Curiously, besides the news about Israel's plan to attack Lebanon, there is also information about the U.S.'s readiness to launch a war against the Houthi forces in Yemen, who have paralyzed shipping operations. Maritime in the Red Sea. On December 18, former U.S. intelligence officer Scott Ritter said that Washington is preparing to declare war on Yemen. On the same day, the Pentagon's website posted a statement from U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin about the implementation of Operation Guardian of Prosperity under the auspices of the Joint Maritime Forces to ensure safe navigation on the sea. The Red Sea in the context of reckless attacks by Houthi forces in Yemen. At the same time, Mr. Austin flew to Israel and began pressuring Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to change his military strategy, otherwise, Israel would face a strategic defeat. This is not the first time Washington has signaled to Israel that it is fed up with what is happening in Palestine. Indeed, the bombing of civilians in Gaza is seriously damaging the images of Israel, the US and the EU. According to observers, the West's lack of response to the murder of thousands of Palestinian children is morally bankrupting Europe and America, exposing the West's double standards and weakening all Western efforts to smear Russia in Ukraine. It is safe to assume that the U.S. does not want to delay IDF operations in Gaza. And Washington certainly does not want the war to spread beyond Palestine.